Now we are.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
So, that's me for you. All right, now, really quick, I wanted to talk to everyone real quick. This, as you can see in the title, is Justice for Sabrina Espinosa. Also, you watch it down. You want to start over? You good?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. So, if you can read in the title, there was some stuff that happened back in 2020. As we all know, George Floyd happened when we were under duress, under a pandemic. Everyone was at home, took to the streets, specifically in Lancaster City. There was some shit that went down. But first, I just want to give a little backstory to you. And what, before we talk about what happened that day, like, give some backstory to what you've been through the past 2 years in your personal life, whatever you feel like disclosing.
In the past 2 years, I've been silenced since my arrest. I have not been allowed to advocate for my people the way I did previous to my arrest. I'm targeted still to this day. No matter what I do or say, people want to tear me down. My name is coming into situations for no reason. All the while, the city is falling apart. In the last 20 months, nothing's changed. My arrest, nothing changed. I stood up for the black community and the youth that night. The whole whopping 10 or 12 that was from the city, not the rest of them that were not from here, though I stuck up for them not knowing. I stuck up for them. I'm an advocate for that. And nothing's changed.
And right, we'll get to that because there's a whole lot of context to that. But I mean,
I have not been allowed. Literally, my whole constitution's been shut down. I'm through 2 attorneys since my arrest.
But you've been charged with a felony, and you've got your own family issues going on.
So you have to be more specific.
So
the last 2 years. In the last 2 years. So what was supposed to happen in my life if I was not arrested?
Right.
I would not live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, literally, and I wouldn't care what was going on here because this was supposed to be in my rear view, like Tupac, because I had better things to do. I was supposed to already move down south at the time. My transition was supposed to move to Virginia, so my daughters could have been closer with their family. I have a 7 and a 6-year-old. My 7-year-old is, she has an IEP for special speech impediment, speech delay or whatever, because she's just a strong kid. She has 2 older sisters, 1 half sister. Well, technically 2 half sisters, but whatever, they're both her sisters. She has a 13-year-old half sister, and then she has a half sister that is 23, about to be 24. My 6-year-old, she has trisomy 18. That's called Edwards. That's her syndrome. She will talk during this. She does not like me speaking about her in the third person.
Right.
She is terminal from birth. Before I found out at 21 weeks with her that she was terminal.
And how old is she again?
She is now 6.
And so for the past 2 years dealing with this trial,
I've been wanting to get it over with because my daughter's short term is because she's in heart failure. She was trisomy 18 with heart failure. October 10th of 2021, she is now in official heart failure. They did give me 6 months, but if you look at her, you wouldn't know it. She defines when she was born, and she will define her death. Unfortunately, because of this situation that the DA and just the way everybody's playing with my life, she's going to die here because they're telling me she won't make it to her next birthday. Every time we have blood work done, even though when you look at her, they're amazed. She should not be, based upon blood work, EKGs, and ultrasounds to her heart, she should be sedated and on hospice. That stopped me living my life with my children because towards the end of her life, knowing her life expectancy is 8, I had really a whole life planned. This was supposed to be my last year, 2020 to 2021 was supposed to be my last year in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I was supposed to move on to bigger and better things. But instead, I became an advocate after watching George Floyd. It was just something. And then the fact that Lancaster City literally was standing up for a cause blew me, because this city never stands up for nothing. Nothing. So I ended up going down that weekend. I was there that whole weekend, ultimately.
So what I take from it is like you were going through personal things that really made you take to heart the value of family and coming together and standing up for one another. And in my opinion, what did you get out of it? That's not a question, a literal question. It's just my thought, you know. Now, that is a question to you. What did you get out of this?
From my arrest?
Positively and negatively.
There has been no positive from this at all. None. Mm-hmm. I have gotten no support. Mm-hmm. I do this all by myself. I've been blackballed from a lot of places. I'm deemed hostile. I don't know how hostile is me telling you the truth or having passion or conviction in my voice. Let me be clear. She was born in 2015. I was homeless 7 times. She's 6. I lived in this city and dealt with all the resources that you all still to this day want to claim are there for us. And I know that's bullshit. I know, wait for it, I know that the city is literally falling apart. And if you watch City Council, since my arrest, thank you, the 3 City Council members, for making sure that if I wanted to know about my city, I should watch City Council, how much of a telenovela is. And literally they spat in our faces while you all were out there and I was being censored to my home. They were literally telling us, fuck us. And they have the black community that is literally damn near non-existent in Lancaster City.
So in other words, while you were pinned down at home, not just because of the looming trial, but because of your personal issues with family and specifically your daughter, mm-hmm. you had the time and were forced into being able to have to do your own research mm-hmm. on this city.
Following the money.
But you also had your own experiences enough with this city to be able to know where to look and how.
So that's
right?
Not true.
Okay.
So what happened is our elected officials that are still re-elected and are going for other positions and etc. got real cocky and real smart and arrogant with us on the street, and they told us that we were uneducated and we needed to educate ourselves. A lot of us were just street thugs. Let me be clear, this was coming from black and brown people, and there's plenty of footage mm-hmm. all over the place that you can see of that happening mm-hmm. right here in this city. Mm-hmm. So with that being clear, you sat there and you heard that, and I'm listening and I'm being naive. First of all, City Council I thought was a high school thing. So I didn't even know that was even in existence. So yes, when they said that, I took that shit to heart because I feel as though I'm pretty educated. But no, they were correct. Once I started to become more educated, it wasn't personal experience. I could back it up with facts because they want that colonized mindset. They wanted me to be more whitewashed. My experience wasn't enough. The fact that I'm standing on a street telling you that the militias on the outside of our city armed to kill us, and they're kettling us right there in the police station.
When everyone was protesting. This was back in May, right?
This is
okay.
May. This is June 1st into June 2nd.
So this was when George Floyd was executed. Yep. Thousands of people descended upon downtown Lancaster.
So no, not thousands of people. So let's be clear. On May 30th, the first protest, there were 3 groups. You had a Manheim Township group who came in, and I believe they were the queer, and I'm trying not to be disrespectful because I was blown that weekend because that became a very popular thing to say.
Right, but there wasn't that many people the first night.
There was probably about 200 people, maybe 250 that showed up.
So you were there.
I was there. I was there when it was 3 groups.
So did things go down that night?
No.
So it was the second
30th,
night?
So what happened is May 30th, what happened on that night around 7:30 p.m., a mentor who then at the time tried to run over a bunch of kids, especially kids that he had mentored, mm-hmm. and that got caught on my live. I was already an advocate to the youth at that time, that night. Now, mind you, the protests had typically been over by that time. There was still like 30 kids, and when I say kids, all under the age of 25, mm-hmm. black men out there.
Okay.
Still kept Chestnut Street closed.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I went
And
down
speaking of, those are from what you're referencing. I remember seeing that on your YouTube. So
Yes.
by the way, if anyone wants more information and research to validate any of the claims that Sabrina Espinosa is talking about right now, they are available on her YouTube page. It is called Justice for Sabrina Espinosa. You can find it on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like the channel. Also, make sure you're sharing this post. Make sure you're liking this post, talking about it, discussing it with your friends and family, no matter where you are in the nation. This is something that I'm sure has happened to many, many people. No matter your race, your age, I'm sure this has happened to many of people that have gotten charges thrown against them for no reason at all, essentially just being on the streets, exercising their right to protest. And we've seen since then that some governments and cities have like banned, quote unquote, right.
No, they made laws. You will get arrested. They're
Exactly.
talking about like literally upstate. 3
Right.
years
So
and
this
more.
is a very real thing,
Oh.
and this is a very important. This is one of the many important reasons as to why we are discussing this today. It's not just for Sabrina Espinosa. This is also to raise awareness. But personally, for her, this is to help raise funds for her attorney fees, so that she is not fucked. Point blank. Period. You were charged with a felony.
So I got upset right before this interview because I never really officially looked at the original charges that they gave me. I am charged with a felony 3, criminal solicitation, a riot to intend to prive or coerce official act, which means I tried to take these youth and I tried to tell them, let's burn down the building. Now, where they got that from was Jerry Pewer, which you all know as the pedophile from Lancaster that lit news. Becky he was too busy, and I will continuously say this, looking at my ass, because I still can get on his old Facebook page that he blocked a lot of people from. That's what the police charged me with that. That's the only thing that they have as a video. Now, mind you, I'm yelling at another protester who went on to become part of an org, or whatever you want to call it, the fake orgs, or whatever this you want to call that. Because I call them fake because none of them made it. So you can't claim you're an org now if you never made it. So I don't want to say fake, a failed org. Let me say failed org.
So hold on, I'm confused. So what were you charged with?
I was charged, so what they told me is that I tried to coerce everybody to blow down a brick-ass building.
So they're saying you were a ringleader.
I was the ringleader, yes. Except for I was yelling at a protester who later became a leader, and another woman on my YouTube page, Justice for Sabrina Espinosa. There's a white truck. You will see who I'm yelling at. It's a big fat white boy. And then it's another woman of color who is also fat. And that's the one they meant to arrest, who was there with her 7-year-old grandson. They were trying to get everybody to do that, and I was yelling at them, think. Right behind me, if you look, because the footage is horrible, there is my 22-year-old daughter at the time. Why? Where? Nobody else. I'm yelling at them because they're literally saying, fuck this, let's do this. I'm telling them, you're not going to do that. You sound stupid. Like, you sound dumb. What are you talking about?
And what were they trying to do?
They literally were trying to get everybody around to want to go into the police station and burn it down. I did not know that that building was, I thought the whole front was brick. You feel me? I've never been in that police station. I was in the old one that was up the street. I lived a block and a half up from the police station at that time. So, yeah, they were trying to say burn it down. I yelled at them on how stupid they were, and the police decided to charge me with that because I actually prevented from the youth rising up, or those two individuals getting more people to go their way with violence. All weekend, I advocated, because back then I believed in a reform. Back then I advocated,
We all did.
Yeah, I advocated for reform with the police. On March 31st, I turned around and I was down there backing off the police because after the incident with a mentor running over the black youth, him getting called out, I went home. But later on that night around 8:45 p.m., which in the case of, the ex-Burkheiser, on May 30th and 31st, they used pepper spray. On May 30th, they pepper sprayed a 10-year-old black boy. and his mother, and they mistakenly also had pepper sprayed 2 white prominent men, who one I believe was a business owner down here who was feeding pizza to the protesters. That became a problem. So from that, on May 31st, there was a drive, I want to say a beep and drive or something protest. It was literally supposed to be that, nothing more. But when that live showed that 10-year-old was pepper sprayed, and there was other people, white people, and the way that the police, which Burkheiser admits, right here, you could go right on, you could print it out just like I did. He admits that they were out of line. They followed the law, but they needed to be rewritten. If you watch it on Justice for Sabrina on YouTube, you will see on May 31st how the police came out after everybody.
So they antagonized and then stretched the truth when they charged you.
Right. So
is that
they
correct?
didn't stretch the truth, they lied. So have you ever... They decided in the group of everybody that was there, again, if you go on my YouTube page, you will see many people that you know, including elected officials. Ishmael Smith-Wade-Grade was there, Isaac Etter was there, Xavier was there, the city treasurer was there, Angie White was there.
So for people that are not in Lancaster, because a lot of the people watching are not...
That's city council members that have been elected, re-elected, and a couple of them who are trying to go to state, but they don't stand up for Black Lives Matter like they claim they have. Sorry, but they don't. They were not in the streets before the night I was arrested when they were told to come out. That's when Xavier was there the whole weekend. I will give that city council member, he took a lot of slack because people thought that unfortunately, they thought like I did so wrong of how I felt. But I thought it was some white kid from the county who was a skater because that's how he dresses. That's who he is, to be honest. But he is a LGBTQ plus A. There's more to that. I'm sorry, I'm still learning the rest of it. You know, individual, and he is happily married, and he was there, and he'll tell you the same thing. That, that he, I did not do that. He kept telling us to go home, and I had said no, and that if they were scared, and I thought he was white, he should go home. Everybody was there, and before Ishmael, right before midnight, after the bomb was done, Ishmael was summoned outside by whomever to come talk to me and realized that I became like, I was the advocate for those kids. I was listening to 2 kids talking about how the uncle was shot and killed by the police a year earlier. Whether that was Lancaster City or not, I don't know. There was a young lady and a young man that were arguing whether or not they wanted to go back and forth. And the trauma that you heard that the police was literally in the school, the resource officers were badgering these kids, that earlier that night when I went down around 10:30 to 11 o'clock, these McCaskey students are the ones who wanted to bombard that police station. That trauma is what I was there protecting. I didn't want nobody to go to jail for something that they'll regret later. Why? They just watched another black man that could have been their father or was somebody, literally live on TV. We got Rodney King. We watched that in the early 90s. They got George Floyd. And then there was an awakening that Lancaster City couldn't take back, and Lancaster City cops here showed exactly how the 90s and before and into early 2000, how they reacted that weekend is literally just a taste of what they did to black and brown people in this city.
I can tell you're very passionate about this, clearly.
This city has done a lot of trauma to me. This city has done a lot of trauma to black people. The black community is not going. I joke around with you all the time. I tell you all the time, we had a bar everywhere. Every corner.
Well, me personally, I know that there was a lot of black people here growing up just because I had family here, and then knowing the history.
Right.
Yeah, and we can talk about that a whole nother time because there is going to be a part 2 to this to break down some more things. Again, you're very passionate about this, clearly, and it's understandable to me as to why. But for people across the nation watching, for those in North Carolina, for those in Minnesota, for those in California that are really dealing, in Ohio, really dealing with the same kind of bullshit in their own respective areas, what would you say to them as far as asking for help and being heard and seen and making connections with people that can help with your situation?
So, what I would say to you, if you're out there, make your moves in silence. That's what I've done every time. Last week, I'm not going to bring the situation. The minute I expose a move, somebody else right there to quickly take that spotlight off. They're real quick to shut down somebody who's advocating for all and not for one. I'm a CNA. I worked, including with my daughter who's special needs. Before I had her, I worked for special needs kids.
I can tell you're a CNA because I asked what you need from people and you went to give advice. What do you need from people in your community?
I'm not so used to that.
I know, around the world, around the country specifically.
I need $1 for every person you know.
How can they reach out to you to send you money?
The only way I could tell you is you could DM me, and I'm trying to organize that. This becomes a delicate situation because I have income restrictions. Unlike most poor people, I was homeless enough that I had to make the decision from getting affordable housing so that when my daughter passes, I have housing for my other child. Unlike a lot of you who would like to talk a lot of crap about Section 8, let me be clear, Section 8 is not what it's all cracked up to be. Me as a worker, I have to limit how much I work. I have to limit like this. I can't take a cash app from you, or I can't do that. My attorney, so that I can remain stable, because I can lose my daughter any day now.
Right.
I have a direct link to make a deposit, but it has to be done, all in one lump sum. It's $3,000 one deposit, $3,000 another. And all I would ask is if you go around, say to a friend, if you feel like you believe in me, you watch the videos, you want to know more about me, more than welcome. Bree Espinosa is my Facebook. On TikTok, I'm Bree981415. On Instagram, I believe I'm Bree1415. I'm everywhere, to be honest. I share nothing but about Indigenous and Black Lives Matter. I stand on everybody who is poor, underprivileged. I always have. I've never been a person to back down, but I'm also strong enough and independent enough that if I could do this 6,000 myself, I would. But right now, I can't do it by myself. So this is embarrassing for me because I don't share my personal life. I'm a giver. I'm the person who, if I have $10 left, if I can really find a way, I'll give it to you. So
y'all, please, I know we're really skimming over the surface here, and the next one we'll get more into detail. We have to be careful with the things that we discuss, but we really will get into more detail to explain the severity of the situation, because it not only is severe, in my opinion, it is dire, and it's also a very fucked up situation. And so the only way that I could stress to gain better context to the situation and to help get justice for Sabrina Espinosa is to go to her YouTube page. Justice for Sabrina Espinosa. Again, that's on YouTube. Again, you can follow her on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well at all of the handles that she just discussed. However, we will be posting all of the links to the comments in this live as well momentarily, so stay tuned for that. Please make sure that you share this to any other groups and platforms for comrades and local organizations and groups that you feel would be very supportive of Sabrina Espinosa nationwide. We will really, really appreciate it here on the Leon Block. Again, stay tuned for more information from this case and this situation. We'll be closely following it. Sabrina Espinosa, we really appreciate you for taking the time to be vulnerable and ask for what you need and what you also deserve. And we're going to be very forward and conscious in the fact that you will get everything that you deserve.
Thank you.
And please just stay focused and stay strong as you are. Continue to do for your community as you are. Folks, again, I cannot stress enough, go to Justice for Sabrina Espinosa on YouTube. And we thank you for tuning in. Please share this post, comment for whatever feelings you have. We would really appreciate it as well. If you have any questions for her, please comment, and I'm sure Sabrina will comment back. We will comment back as well if needed. Make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell. Have a great day.